Let's go to the Ukraine now, where a prominent opposition activist who disappeared a week ago has been found badly tortured on the outskirts of the capital, Kiev. Dmitro Bulatov is the leader of Euromaidan. That's a motorist protest movement. He says he was kidnapped and repeatedly beaten.
I was crucified. I've got holes in my hands. A part of my ear was cut off. They cut my face. There is not a spot on my body that hasn't been beaten. I couldn't tell who they were, as it was always dark where they kept me, but their accent was Russian. I'll tell you more later. Now I cannot see very well because I've been in darkness for so long.
Well, just after those pictures emerged, after that experience, I spoke to the BBC's Duncan Crawford in Kiev.
He actually was the leader of a group known as Euromaidan, which was a part of the protest group here who organised convoys to drive around the outskirts of Independence Square, which is behind me. And they were trying to protect the square, make sure that police didn't try to get across the barricades. Also, they drive convoys of vehicles up to government ministers' houses and protest, including outside the home of President Yanukovych. So he was a well-known individual. He's just one of a number of activists who have been taken off the streets and gone missing. Indeed, last week, a number of activists had gone missing. One was found in a forest on the outskirts of Kiev, and he had died, and he bared the hallmarks of torture as well. So there is suspicion by the demonstrators out there that there is some kind of group, they don't know who it is, who is targeting some of their main activists.
Well, let me just press you on that, Duncan, because as you say, there have been several cases. Quickly, if you can. Are fingers pointing in a certain direction to a certain group, given some of the labels that have been given to those who are involved in the protests and the protests against the protests?
Well, look, there's a lot of rumours around, there's a lot of suspicions, there are a few accusations, but there's nothing that we can really stand up as fact. I think it's clear there's a lack of trust down there amongst the protesters. There's a lack of trust from the governments as well on their side in terms of the whole of the negotiations in this process to try and bring an end to the anti-government demonstrations across the country. Just look at what President Yanukovych said yesterday. He called the opposition leaders irresponsible and reckless, saying that they were more concerned about their own opinion poll ratings than solving the crisis in the country. He says he's offered concessions. He says that the opposition should take those concessions. But the fact is, at the moment, we're in a stalemate situation. We've basically got a truce at the moment, but the people on the ground, they're not moving anywhere, and the government are saying they're not going to offer any more concessions.
That's Duncan Crawford there in Kiev. Let's move on to issues in the United States.